I feel bad because I know that these days with dating, it's very complicated. It's not what it used to be.
Sure, Robin, I bet you absolutely hate that the three ex wives had to return to the dating scene and they're no longer with Kody. I bet you hate it so much that given the opportunity for them to return, you would absolutely want them to take it. No, not really. That's not what I think. And I think in this episode, Robin gave a little bit too much of herself away. Today, you guys were talking about Sister Wives, Season 20, Episode 11. Since I started out talking about that clip of Robin, I want to continue with it because she did say a little bit more.
The smartphone has just totally annihilated that whole thought process. I feel bad for people that are having to go through this process now.
I just don't feel like her face reads, I feel bad. I think she looks very smug. Another thing that I want to point out is that this episode is titled, We Used to Be Lovers, and I hate that. They got the title from something that Kody said in this episode when he was talking about him and Janelle, but I just don't want to hear him say lovers. And then there was this other episode that was titled, I think it was titled We're Making Out Like Teenagers, or it might have just been Making Out Like Teenagers because Kody said something about it. Listen, let's just get him to stop. Stop, Kody. You don't have to use words like lovers and making out. We need to let that go. If there's a season 21, let's move on from this. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is Kody Brown's apology tour and his meeting with Janelle. Listen, I've read a lot of comments online. I know a lot of people were disappointed. They thought Janelle was flirtatious. They think Janelle would go back to Kody. I just disagree. I think she has moved on. I think she has moved on so much that she isn't even holding a grudge. She doesn't even have anything to really confront him about. She's let it go. I expect that Mary and Christine are going to be more confrontational than Janelle was. I think Janelle really didn't care either way. She didn't really need this. She could have moved on without it. I think Mary and Christine will just have more to bring up with him, more things to point out. Could have Janelle said more? Sure, but she just doesn't need to. I also think that Kody and Janelle will always have a chemistry between them that makes it where they're a little bit flirtatious. I think Kody smiles and she smiles and all of a sudden there's a little bit of flirting, but I don't think there's any going back for Janelle.
It's a compliment to you. If I'd have been apathetic, it would have meant you weren't important. Yeah. And my anger and my bitterness and I didn't ever love her, that was all from attachment.
Yeah.
I just put that clip in there because they were both smiling at each other, and I think you can see the chemistry that they have when they're together and they're getting along. I think that is what kept Janelle in that marriage for as long as it did. And I think if there was anything that was going to pull her back in, it would be that, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Now, there was one part of this that I didn't agree with what Janelle was saying, and I'm going to put the clip in here just to let you guys hear her say it instead of me quoting her. This is it.
And I think maybe I lost track of our relationship, and it might have been detrimental, really. I probably should have been focused a little bit more on our relationship and not so much the family.
I actually disagree with her here. I think focusing on the kids, focusing on the big picture, who they wanted to be, and their public image, the fact that they were on a show, I think focusing on all of that made her stay in this marriage longer than it would have if she had focused on her relationship with Kody. Because even though Kody is telling her that he loved her and he's apologizing for saying that he didn't, it doesn't actually change the facts. He feels like Robin is his soulmate. That's where he wants to spend his time. The kids that he has with her and the kids that he adopted are the ones he wants to be with the most. None of that has changed. If she had focused more on her relationship with Kody, she probably would have realized that she needed to get out of there earlier. I think it would have probably been more painful and more hurtful. But instead, she just focused on her children, and then she stayed until Kody finally messed that up to the point that she didn't want to stay anymore.
I wanted to fly out here and meet with you. Basically, I just wanted to come and say that I apologize.
Wow.
Okay, you guys, I'm not even going to try to recap everything that happened during the apology meeting, mostly because from my perspective, it was sort of uneventful. It was a very polite conversation. Kody apologized for saying that he didn't love her. She says she knew that wasn't true. She knew they loved each other. She reflects on the marriage in a very positive way. So does Kody. That's it. I mean, to me, there wasn't that much to it. I brought up the part where she said she wishes she'd focus more on the relationship. That stood out to me. The only other thing that I really would be interested in knowing is whether or not Robin showed up to the cemetery. You know, Janelle brings up that Garrison can have a military stone and she's started the paperwork for it. She's going to finish it. She says, we can meet at the cemetery when they bring it. Kody says, just us. She says, yeah, it doesn't have to be a big thing. I'm interested in knowing if they follow through with those plans in that way. And I also think Kody said just us too because he's questioning, is it okay if I bring Robin without actually coming right out and saying it? That's my theory. I mean, I don't know that for a fact. I'm making an assumption, but I feel that way. But really, to me, it was just very polite. I think it was good that it happened. They're going to see each other places. They might as well feel comfortable with each other. I think Kody needed to say it. He was a jerk back then in those, season 17, 18, 19. He wasn't very nice. He was saying things about the mothers of his children that will stay with those kids forever and stay with those women forever. So I'm glad he's doing it. But I think there could have been more to it. I would have loved if the episode really just focused on them together. Even if the conversation didn't really go a lot deeper, I felt like we could have seen more of that because the other stuff we watched was just filler content. Hold on, you guys. I was about to throw in some clip of Mary or Christine that was just, not a big deal. And then I realized, how could I leave the other Robin moment out? She gave us two really good moments. One where she was talking about dating. I put that at the beginning. You guys, she does not look sad for her ex-sister wives to be out on the dating scene. But there was another moment, and that is where they bring up the possibility of an ex-wife returning. Let's go ahead and look at that clip.
How would you react if one of the ex-wives wanted to return
Return to the
to the
family.
Let's go ahead and watch that one more time. I'm going to have the audio off. Just look at all the facial expressions she is giving us. She is definitely trying to think about what she's going to say next and how to respond to it.
Because I'm just like,
Okay.
yeah, sad right now.
I'm sorry. What's
No,
happening?
because you just opened this little portal of hope, and I'm just like, I didn't even think of that. And now I'm just like, what if, and I'm going down that road. I can't, I got to move away from that.
Why do we have to move away from it? Why? Shouldn't she want it? Shouldn't this be such an exciting idea to her? Now she goes on and says it's because it makes her hopeful. I don't think that's why. I think that is a terrifying prospect. To think that Janelle or Mary might come back to Kody, I think that's probably Robin's worst fear.
I'll fall apart and I can't be on this set.
Okay.
Okay, hope is dangerous sometimes.
I really do love that they throw in a clip of Janelle and Kody sitting together as if they're there on a date. And I realize that a lot of people watched it and left comments all over the place online about how they think Janelle would go back to Kody. And maybe she would, but let me tell you what, after all this stuff has came out publicly, it would look a lot different. I think there would be so many conditions that Janelle would have to go back with him. It would completely mess up Robin's life. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and start talking about Mary. In this episode, we see her and Amber in Vegas. They are attending that dating event that Mary signed them up for. This event is at an indoor golf facility, and it includes a bit of mingling, drinking, and then ultimately you do a quiz over your phone, submit the quiz, and they will pair you up with someone that you match with. But that's not what's going to happen if there's way more women than there are men. That means there's going to be some people that might not match with anyone, which happens with speed dating as well, but it really felt like the odds were against them in this situation. But Mary and Amber are not upset because they, had looked around and had decided that there wasn't anyone that they were interested in getting to know more. And, I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like Mary is very realistic about it all. When she talks about dating, she says it's going to be difficult. And I just feel like she has a good take on the whole thing, right? Like she realizes it's going to take her a while to find someone that she matches with.
I don't think the perfect person exists, but the perfect person for me exists, and that's who I'm looking for. So I think I get to be picky.
I think that is a great attitude, and I don't think Janelle or Mary should jump into anything that doesn't completely make them happy, because come on, you guys, they put up with Kody Brown for years and years and years. They deserve healthy, happy relationships. A little bit later, we do find out that Jen, Mary's friend Jen, her husband has been battling cancer. Amber and Mary are planning a fundraiser for him. They are going to host a breakfast and plan a bike ride, and they are going to encourage people to go and rent bikes from Jen and her husband's bike store. So that seems like a very wonderful idea. I think it's very kind of Mary and Amber to do that for her. It's very sweet. But that's really it for Mary in this episode. When it comes to Christine, most of this episode is her and David talking. Actually, I think every part of her in this episode, aside from talking heads, is her and David talking. And they're playing pickleball, and then they're taking a walk. And basically, to sum it up, Christine doesn't want to talk to Kody. She would rather never see him again. But David really encourages her to do it. Basically, he says that she should do it for the kids. He also says this when they're taking a walk, and I just want to throw the clip in. It's very short, you guys, but I thought I would add it. Here it is.
He wants to have a relationship. I just don't think he knows quite how to.
Until I watched him on Special Forces, I didn't realize how unusual his behavior was and how odd it came off to other people. He's almost too eager, too enthusiastic, and then he always looks confused. I read a comment online that said, "Why does it always look like he's trying to solve a difficult math problem?" And I thought that really summed it up well. There's just something about Kody that's a little bit unusual, and I didn't realize how weird it was, and I hate to use the word weird, but that's what I'm going with here, you guys. There's just something odd about him, and I think it can make it difficult for people to relate to him or him to relate to other people. He really struggles with having emotional depth and understanding how people feel, but I think he's trying, I think. No matter how much I dislike the things that Kody has said or the things he has done, I have never wished for his children not to speak with him or for them to have a bad relationship with him. They deserve their dad to be in their lives if that is something they want. But who's going to want it if Kody doesn't realize his mistakes and try to fix them? So I would like to think we're in a new era of Kody Brown. That's what I'm rooting for, you guys. He won't be able to fix everything, but maybe he can try. So we'll have to see what happens with him and Christine. You guys let me know what you think about all of this down in the comments. I mentioned this in my last video. I usually make a Christmas video about the things we would like to gift the Brown family, members of the Brown family. So if you have something you wish Santa would bring Kody, Robin, Mary, Janelle, anyone on the show, go ahead and leave that comment down below. If you haven't already, I do hope you will click like and subscribe and come back to Happily Ever Reality.